So welcome to episode 125 of the Campus Comics Cast. I am Scott Reed, and I am joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Shad Schubert.
And we will, of course, be waiting for your thank you letters for helping you out. In case you missed it, there was a study showing that podcast listeners are more likely to be more curious and less neurotic than their non-podcast listening friends. So at some point in the near future, you need to stop into Muddy Monster Comics and say thank you. Muddy Monster Comics is, of course, located at 1422 Walnut Street in Murfreesboro, Illinois. Store hours are Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So let the neurosis-free listening begin, and we can move on into DC and what they have coming, generally shipping in June of 2022. So any other quick thoughts before we dive into DC?
I don't think so.
Nope, I'm ready.
All right, so I did notice that the DC catalog, they've allegedly killed off the entire Justice League, but the story that's taking place after that isn't enough to rate page one. They still have a Batman book as page one, and he's supposed to be dead. So that's kind of a little odd, I think. I don't know what everybody else thinks about that.
Yeah. They're just, for some reason, he's got that first page no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. But also, something else is interesting about page one of Batman. It is the only Batman book solo, or Batman. There's no Batman 125 in this DC Connect, which is a little odd because usually there's 2 per month, and they moved all the rest of the Batman books to the back of the DC Connect book. Yeah. So that was also a big surprise because the last 10 catalogs have been the first 20, 30 pages were all Batman. So
yeah. They're maybe branching out a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know who the cover artist is for this solicitation, but they say Batman 124 written by Joshua Williamson and art is by Howard Porter, art and cover. And but the cover itself, or the solicitation, which you might imagine was the cover, is by J.M. I'm trying to think who that might be. It looks familiar, the signature.
Yeah. They don't list a J.M. in any of the art variants or the cover variants or anything. Yeah. So
it looks like
very familiar though.
Yeah.
It looks like that Hanin. Jinin. Looks like his art.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I can't recognize it, and that I don't know, blind signature art, just all it does is remind me of Ethan Van Sciver. So, it's and not the signature, not the art.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. The way he signs, the pages of work he's done. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't know who that is. And I really didn't have anything to say about this issue other than the fact it's the only one that we get that DC's doing in this catalog. So be interesting to see how long that lasts.
Well, they introduce a new character in this book. It's in the aftermath of the Shadow War.
But is it a new character?
Well,
because if you read carefully, or is it just Abyss returned?
Yes.
Yeah.
Potentially. So it's probably, I have it written here, new character question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm picking it up just for that, but you're right. It might not be a new character, but it's just enough maybe to get some people to buy it, including myself.
Including yourself. Oh, I'm getting Batman monthly. I haven't even started reading any of the Joshua Williamson stuff yet. So I made it. I bought all the Tynion stuff and haven't read a single issue of it. So yeah, that tells you how far behind I am on some of my reading. Page 2.
This is it.
You're the Crisis guy, Mike. Why don't you talk about Dark Crisis?
Well, I just got out of a crisisologist meeting a few minutes ago, so I have some fresh news. No, I mean, if anybody that's been around DC long enough, you kind of have no just as you can't avoid being somewhat tied to crises, and Dark Crisis is the latest iteration of DC's big events. They sort of they've moved back to the Crisis format after dabbling in a few other event titles like Rebirth and the Death Metal and all that stuff. But it does look pretty intriguing. I'm pretty confident in Joshua Williamson's uh, knowledge of DC history. The art looks pretty solid with Daniel Sampier, and the premise is an epic event, years in the making. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League are dead. ...
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The remaining heroes are left to protect the world from an onslaught of violent attacks by DC's greatest villains. Can the legacy heroes step out of the shadows of the classic heroes to form a new Justice League? And will that be enough to stop a darkness greater than anything they've ever faced from destroying everything? So, it's sort of it's a temp format or a story model that's been used before. The old guard is gone and the new guard comes in. The question is who really is going to be the new guard,
Yeah.
albeit temporarily. And a lot of people think it's what's going to be all those 5G
5G characters, yeah.
But I've also heard that it may not be. They're just going to be there around. They're not going to necessarily be the replacements.
It's going to be one of those things that's going to last until the end of Dark Crisis, and then they're going to bring their mainstay characters back in some shape, form, or fashion. So it's
yeah.
You just get a little jaded at this stuff. So
yeah.
Okay, I need your help on this cover though, because obviously they imply that all these characters in the background, like the Batman, Aquaman, Hawkwoman, Martian Manhunter, Superman, John Stewart, Green Lantern, oddly enough, instead of Hal Jordan, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Arrow, Black Canary, but the female character standing behind Aquaman, I cannot put a name to. Can you tell me who that is?
That's Zatanna, I'm pretty sure.
Is it Zatanna? I should know Zatanna.
Yeah, she just doesn't. She's kind of her outfit that she wears now is a little bit less costumey than it used to be.
Okay.
It's just a little. It's kind of a no top hat. She's usually wears like a little leather jacket thing over a
like a tuxedo
bodice.
White shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, her Justice League Dark appearances have been a little bit more muted or understated, which is fine. I like the look. She's got the bangs instead of like the long flowing stuff, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's her.
Okay, I just couldn't tell who that was just from the image. So, and they obviously don't say. So, I was just kind of curious.
I'm disappointed to not see Hawkman. I mean, he's never in these stories anymore.
You think they're just scared to deal with Hawkman because of his convoluted past?
Who alive anymore even remembers that besides people my age?
Yeah. Well, apparently they write a lot of email, and post rampages and rants about it online, so they have to pay attention, both of you. So
yeah. Both of you, yeah. And I have both email accounts, yeah. So I'm picking it up just because it's a crisis event and just to be a completist. And I'm, usually I'm pretty hopeful with this. The art looks good, so it'll be easy on the eyes. And like I said, Williamson does a pretty good job.
My next thing's on page 8.
Not till 11.
I was going to mention Dark Crisis, Young Justice, but it's more of just a derivative. You go ahead with page 8.
Okay, so Black Adam, issue number 1. I think this would be Black Adam's first solo title. Are you aware of him ever having another solo title?
He never has.
Yeah, okay. So now there's no indication that this isn't, just an ongoing series. I don't see one shot. I don't see of. Of course, we know that at some point that'll probably switch over to being of a certain number of issues. But they're definitely wanting to get something on the shelves for people who are interested in the Dwayne Johnson film that will be out sometime in the future. And it is written by Christopher Priest, so it does have that going for it. So
yeah, that's a good point. He's one of the best anti-heroes there is. I mean, I think they've played around with his design a little bit too much. Back in the 2000s, he had the pointy ears, and that was about the time he took over the country of Kahndaq. But now the way he's been portrayed in Justice League lately, maybe it's just because it's the Brian Michael Bendis dialogue. He doesn't have, he's got the same. I've mentioned this before. All of the characters that Bendis writes in a group comic, they all sound alike. They all sound quippy and lighthearted. Black Adam is the farthest thing from lighthearted as you can get. So
I never really considered Black Adam to be an anti-hero. I always considered him to be a bad guy.
he has
I
been.
assume
But
they're changing his for the movie, because it's kind of hard to go. It was like the Joker. If they really do him as a bad guy, it's not going to be a movie you're going to walk out of feeling,
Right.
So
no, it's more that I don't know if anti-hero is the right word. He's willing to do some criminal things to defend. He's like an uber nationalist.
is he like Doctor Doom in the sense that
I'd say that you can say
he'll do whatever he can to protect his country, and
that's
then,
a good way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I think it's a great comparison.
To Marvelize all of our conversations, So.
Gotta convert it so everybody knows.
That's right.
What's the Marvel
my next
DC
thing's on 12.
conversion rate?
Yeah.
On 11, I just I thought this story sounded good. At some point I will get into the Nubia storyline because I think she seems like a cool character. But this is her Nubia, Queen of the Amazons, #1, and essentially as she is as the new Queen of the Mascara and of the Amazons, she wants to meet all of the different tribes that are of Amazonians throughout the world. Which I, as not an avid Wonder Woman reader, didn't realize there were more tribes than the ones on Themyscira. And so she's going out to those, and evidently something from her past that's been waiting for her to leave the island is going to show up. So I thought it was a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, the other tribes are, well, the Bonamigdal has been around a while, but the Esquisita tribes, that's I believe the Wonder Girl character sort of comes from
Okay.
down in Brazil. I think that's a more recent concept, and I think I don't want to throw any cold water, but I wasn't impressed with the previous Nubia miniseries. The writing was just not that good. It was just dull. Maybe
who was the writer on that? Do you remember?
It was Stephanie Williams.
Okay.
I was gonna say it was Stephanie Williams handling it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am a Wonder Woman. I mean, I've been buying the main comic for years, and so I'm wanting to see this do better. If it was Stephanie Phillips, I think I'd be great, but that's a different Stephanie, and I think she's a better writer.
Okay.
But you never know.
Page 12, not that I'm super excited about it, but there is a new Poison Ivy solo book. I think she's been co-headlined some books in the past, but I don't know if it's ever been just a Poison Ivy series either.
I remember there being a mini not too long ago.
Was there a mini?
A couple years back, but it was like Poison Ivy : blah blah blah. Like it had a title to it.
Okay, so this is just going to be a 6-issue series written by G. Willow Wilson. Lots of variants.
She's going to end humanity.
Again. Then my next thing's not till 18, so.
That's what I have too. Next is 18.
I got 14. Just a honorable mention on the DC Pride 2022. I feel like they've got a lot of new characters representing, or more characters now representing the LGBTQ plus community. So more characters to play with in this realm. 13 stories, bunch of creative teams that I'd never heard of. So could be a good thing and introduce you to a bunch of new blood, or could not be good.
Well, I like Travis, or I'm sorry, Devin Grayson. He's a really, or she's a good writer, and I did get the first edition of the DC Pride. I guess it was the 2021, and there were over half the stories were really good.
Yeah,
and it was just scratching the surface. And there are many of these. I mean, you've got the Jackson Hyde Aqualad or Aquaman, which is kind of weird that it's like they're insisting he's not an Aqualad now. He's an Aquaman, even though there is another Aquaman, and it's kind of like the Superman, son of Kal-El and all that. But you got Nubia, and you got Joel Moline, Sojourner Moline, Green Lantern. You've got I think that's the Chinese Flash. I forget what
Okay.
her, and she was actually in the Gene, Luen Wang in his series of the new Superman, and then you've got, of course,
Oh.
Tim Drake and
Mhm.
Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely making a stronger mark on the DC universe.
Definitely.
Mike, you got anything else before 18?
No, I'm
Chad?
free and clear until there.
All right, well, I have a question for you after you, Mike, you tell me about this book on page 18.
Okay.
So the dead space that Mike is letting go as he looks this up is for Multiversity Teen Justice #1. Should I just go straight into the question?
Yeah, I thought that's what I was waiting for you to ask me.
Oh, no, I said you were going to tell me about the book, and then I was going to ask you a question.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, so it's this is another Pride Month book, and it's Multiversity. It's basically spinning out of their debut appearances. Kid Quick and the other young heroes of Earth 11 are looking to make a name for themselves. So these are, I believe, if you were to go back to the Multiversity series from Grant Morrison years ago, there was an Earth where you had a lot of proteges and sons and daughters that were, their parents did such a good job that there just really wasn't any crime left on Earth. So it was more of a, it was like a Kardashian type lifestyle. Their biggest challenge was, making sure they got the high enough ratings and have a little drama in their lives. But I think this is the same group. If not, it's an expansion on that group. And you've got Supergirl, Robin, Aquagirl, Clarion, as in Clarion, female gender, the Wish Girl, and Troy, which I'm assuming is a male version of Donna Troy. And they are, so it's just another alternate Earth story, and I'm all about that kind of stuff, so I'm interested in it. And that was my comic. So what's your question?
So are any of these new characters, or did all these characters previously appear in some of the Multiversity books?
I think the concept appeared in the Multiversity books, but these are new characters. I'm almost certain.
So they haven't had a story told about them or appeared in print any other place?
They could have been maybe in not a who's who, but some sort of, what was it, the Multiversity guidebook, I believe there was.
Or something? Yeah, okay.
The handbook.
Okay.
They might have been referenced there. I'll have to pull that out and see if they're in there. But Earth 11 is but as far as that would only be considered a cameo. I don't know if you'd consider any kind of encyclopedic entry first appearance. So this could be, I know where you're going with it. This could be an important book.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So I'm going to make a little note here about that. So just for later on, because I wasn't for sure, because I didn't read any of Multiversity, so I don't know if any of these characters had comic appearance prior to this book. So
I did, but it didn't stick with me, any of it, not a lick of it. Captain Carrot was in there. I know.
That's all you remember is Captain Carrot.
Captain Carrot was there.
I think I mentioned
now remember the cover for this.
I think I mentioned this once before, that I love the idea of multiple or of alternate Earths, but sometimes they just hose you down with it so much that you don't have a chance to really see the characters develop through a story. Mm-hmm. You're just like, okay, Earth 11, this is what it's about. Here's all these characters. Here's Earth 23, and this was and I'm like, I'd rather it be like, just very slow rollout of different Earths being discovered sort of naturally, and not a bombastic, here's this.
Like, this is a 6-issue series. That's a great way to just get into what Earth 11 is without really having to feel overwhelmed with anything.
Right. I'm definitely going to get
to me that they're just pulling they're just how many years later going, let's pull the Multiversity brand and just see what's coming up with it.
Yeah. And I like how they combined Teen Titans with Young Justice and call it Teen Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my next thing's not till page 30, so whatever you have before 30.
29.
I got 25.
Go ahead, sir.
On 25, the Milestones in History #1, just a one-shot book, and I don't know much about the Milestone line, but this is kind of almost an historical kind of look at the impact of the Milestone universe throughout history and potentially into the future, which leads me to believe they could easily announce a new character in this. If they're looking at the future in there. I know last month that duo was already a new book with new characters with them, so it's like, well, they hit it again 2 months in a row, but they totally could. So that was the only reason, was just that I thought it might be an entry point to Milestone if anybody was trying to get into it, and maybe a new character.
Yep. I take back my page 29. I really don't have anything until 38.
Okay, well, on page 30, I don't know what to think about this, but we have Batman's mystery casebook. Now, I assume this is probably geared for very young readers based on the artwork style. But okay, so what it looks like it is you get several art pages, and you're supposed to basically read through, examine the story, and then you'll get to the end of the story, and there will be some mystery, and apparently you should have been able to deduce what the mystery is based on the clues you get in the story, so you can allegedly work through this case with Batman. So I don't know. That sounds a little intriguing. I would, again, if it's written for younger kids, and obviously, it's probably not going to be too in depth of a guess to what the clues are. But I am definitely interested in seeing what this has to offer. So I may pick it up just for the newness of it and see what it's like. Yeah. So it was just something I thought was kind of neat looking. So.
Well, it's a new approach to a book when you're trying to figure out how to sell Batman to kids a little bit more, and so it's neat. The only thing I would say is that I'm gonna feel real dumb if I can't solve these cases.
Yeah.
I noticed that it's 144 pages, but it's also the smaller dimensions. It's 5.5 by 8 soft cover. So
it's only $9.99 too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that leads me to believe it's meant for kids. So you know what? I think we got a good shot at solving some of these.
Okay, I think maybe there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's a chance.
Okay. All right. All right. My next thing's not till 37. So.
38 for me. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I got to get to page 37. So, where is it at? 37. So it is. Okay, I may just be not correctly remembering this, but I think we talked about Batman Fortress last month, and I would have swore that Tom King was attached to this. Of course, there's Batman Killing Time, but I probably should have just got out my DC Connects and just to verify if it was or wasn't. But I just didn't remember this because I had a note that I wanted to pick this up for some reason, and now I don't know why. I don't remember why I wanted to pick it up. Based on this information. So I
remember that.
Yeah. I heard about it through another podcast is where I heard. I don't remember reading about it, but I think Batman's kind of gathering the league because Superman's ditched Earth and they have to fight off an alien menace. But yeah, that's
So that to me is not enough to make me want to read it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had this down. Maybe I just wrote down the wrong book. So
could be.
All right. All right. So yeah, that's all I got in DC. So
okay.
What else does everybody else have in DC?
I just want to say 38 is on page 38. We got the Batman Catwoman maxi series number 12. This is the finale, and once again, wedding bells are ringing. Now I'm a little jaded because I have an invitation to the last wedding, and it got called off. And I've been down this road before, so let's see. And I'm serious, I did get an invitation. I was at C2E2 and they were handing them out. So
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
That's right. Yeah.
Shame on me. So.
Yeah, I might just. Yeah. Who knows?
Oh, I forgot something. If we're done with DC, on page 20 of the catalog is the solicitation for issue 3 of Flash, the Fastest Man Alive. This has now been canceled as a book. And is evidently being pushed back at the moment, but I think they're trying to. DC is separating themselves from Ezra Miller, and his likeness potentially.
Yeah, it's a possibility, but they had before all that stuff happened with him, they had actually already pushed that movie back, and they flopped some dates even before that happened. So
you think the book might actually be connected to the pushback of the movie?
I would think so. But
yeah, I don't know that it's directly connected to his behavior lately.
Yeah, that would be more my guess. But you might be right, and they may just keep pushing it back and then hoping to maybe eventually they push it back far enough and nobody will care, and they can then just cancel it. Because I was surprised there was those initial allegations against him, and I was surprised that they, even incorporated him into the Flash TV series. They brought Ezra Miller into Peacemaker, and then this happens, and it's like they feel like they've, they're going with him no matter what. So
tolerating no matter. I don't know why. Yeah. I mean, he's an okay actor. He's not like.
No, yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he's never blown me away in anything. But who knows? I mean, I guess it's just wait and see. And obviously, innocent proven guilty too. So yeah,
a postpone or a complete cancel.
I mean, the movie's all but made, and it's I just would.
And maybe they're having trouble in post production with it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a strange guy. So, but Hollywood's full of strange people. I mean, it's not. This has been going on for as long as there's been a Hollywood in movies. So I don't know what's new here.
Holding the book and the movie until hopefully, fingers crossed, it all blows over for them, and they can be like, "What issue?"
Yeah. See, we told you everything was fine. Nothing to see here. All right, Marvel. Anybody want to talk about page 1?
Fortnite. Oh, no, that's not page 1.
Oh, yeah, it's not page 1. Yeah, page 1, Axe Eve of Judgment. So we have Eternals versus the X-Men. I think this is probably something Marvel had going, thinking Eternals was going to do a lot better, which I liked Eternals, but I guess maybe thought it was going to be a little bit bigger than it was. And now they're just kind of like just giving it we'll still tell this story and go from there. So I don't know. But page 2, Fortnite contaminates the Marvel Universe with Fortnite.
They're really hoping that lightning's going to strike twice, aren't they?
I guess so.
Wasn't there just a Fortnite and was it Batman?
DC, yeah. It was,
DC,
and instead of being Zero War, it was like, what was it, 0 Point?
Oh, yeah,
like
Zero
Point.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder if Zero has something to do with Fortnite overall. Maybe it's
almost has to, but I don't play it, so I have no idea. That being said, I bought a few extra issues of the Batman Fortnite book, and when people learned that there were unlock codes in those books, they snatched them right up. So embarrassingly, I will be grabbing and completing this set to have them for sale at some point in the future. But yeah, I'm not going to.
There's codes for these too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they have digital cosmetics for Fortnite. So.
I will tell you that and I think we talked about it then. The story wasn't horrible in the Fortnite Batman if you removed if you just didn't say what the crossover was. But the solicitation for this does not give any kind of idea of there being a good story behind it.
See, I didn't even bother to read the solicitation because it said Fortnite, and I just flipped the page. I'll pick up a few and flip the page. Oh, right. More about Fortnite. Flip the page. So, yep. All right, so page 6, Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty. I had thought that we were going to have 2 monthly Captain America books, and okay, so good to know that was the case. Right. I was surprised they didn't just release them both in the same month, because the second issue of the Sam Wilson one is solicited next page over. But we have Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty. I'm not familiar with this creative team. Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing on doing the writing, Carmen Carnero doing the art. I don't hate the art, but I'm not like blown away by the art here on this. But I'm getting
the art looks good. I think it reminds me of Reminds me of someone else. I can't think. Fernando Passerin.
Okay.
That's what it reminds me of.
But I'm getting the Captain America Steve Rogers book again, so I am looking for that. Cap's on my pull list, so definitely going to be picking this up and hope that it's good. So
What's going on with the Shield? Do you think what could he possibly not know about the Shield? That's kind of the big mystery in this one.
I don't think it's a
frozen,
problem
maybe?
about the Shield. I just think it's what the Shield stands for that he is referring to, and the
Oh,
Shield
okay.
is it's not your symbol, it's there. I don't think he's saying there's something physically different about the Shield.
Or that I was thinking, did somebody like commit some sort of war crime with the Shield while he was frozen, and he just
You mean
found
like
out about it?
Ashian, an ultimatum
Something
guy's
like that,
head?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't take that to mean that there
Gotcha.
was some secret story behind the Shield. So, my next thing's on page 10.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I'm
Okay,
at.
so I thought we already had this Daredevil #1 solicited, and I don't know, maybe I'm just having a really really bad deja vu or something. But I feel like I saw this cover with the
Might not be
DD
wrong.
with the blinds and this John Romita Jr. cover solicited. So I thought we felt like Chip Zdarsky getting a new #1 on Daredevil, and so maybe this is a resolicit. I don't know. I didn't bother to look and see what the solicitation number was, and they don't even show it on this page any place.
Oh.
So I thought we'd already talked about this, but in case we missed it, we got another Daredevil #1 coming from Chip Zdarsky.
Which it's weird that he's getting a new #1, I guess, just because it's at the end of Devil's Reign, but he's already gotten a new #1
From Zdarsky. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I guess multiple times even, but
yeah.
But this creative team, there's no change at all to anything to indicate it. I guess it's just post Devil's
Devil's
Reign, and
Reign.
they
Just
That's the only thing I
reboot.
can come up with.
solicitation numbers April 220760.
Okay, so that's this
I guess it's new.
catalog. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought we had it last month, but I just may be misremembering. So
Well, Zdarsky's one of those writers that I won't always buy what he writes, but I'm more inclined to buy it just because of his name and his reputation. And ever since I read the Justice League Last Ride by him, which is the first full series at DC, I think that he's written, and liked it so much, I'm even more inclined to pick this up. And I like Daredevil as a character.
and his run on Daredevil's been really really good. So my next thing's on page 18.
12. I just wanted to mention. I guess the Hellfire Gala is now an annual event. It's just we're gonna see this come up every year because this is the 2022 Hellfire Gala for X-Men.
I do like this cover with Wolverine and Jean Grey dancing, and the fact that he is so much shorter than he is. That's something that they just don't make it a point to show a lot of times. That he is this short guy, and
he's not quite Puck stature, but he's close.
No. Yeah, I mean he's in the lower 5 foot range, so.
Well, on page 14 is Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor, #1 of 5, and I was just wondering, are they? I read Thor whenever she was Thor, and was dying of cancer, and had every time that she switched, or I think she was preserved from dying from cancer as long as she was she was Thor. But every time she come back to being Jane, her disease would progress. But
right, it would undo the effects of the chemo.
That's it. Yeah. So are they two distinct characters now, Thor and
yes.
Jane?
Okay. Because she became Valkyrie, Jane Foster Valkyrie, after Thor got his hammer back, and then they've kind of teased her out around about it. But with the movie coming out, they want to have an excuse to have Jane Foster take up the mantle of Thor again. So we're going to get at least a miniseries. It's going to be on the shelves during the movie release. So
okay.
Which again, I always have said, you need to have something that matches what's in the theaters on the shelf. It's not like back when, somebody would go say, "Hey, I want to see Captain America. Oh, well, Steve Rogers is dead right now. We got either Bucky or Sam Wilson as Cap. It's like, oh, well, how about Thor? I like Chris Hemsworth. Well, Thor's Jane Foster right now because Thor's not worthy anymore, so he's not even in his own book. It said that was happening like every time there's a movie release. So at least now we've got something that's kind of matches what's going to be in the film. So 18. We ready for 18?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Shockingly, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 6, which is actually the 900th issue of Amazing Spider-Man. You would think that they would have, jumped on the bandwagon like everybody else does, and Marvel's been really consistent about this. But they're gonna just leave the legacy numbering, and it's going to be Amazing Spider-Man number 6 with the legacy numbering of issue 900. So we have the 900th issue of Amazing Spider-Man. So congrats, Spidey.
Congrats, Spidey.
Yeah, and all those weekly summer, books got you there really, really quick.
And I seen on the previous issue, Amazing Spider-Man number 5, you got JR.
Mhm.
I guess he's back on art and cover at Marvel which is fine.
I'm looking at his art here, and I remember having a time where I liked John Romita Jr., and I am just not digging these covers.
I didn't like anything he did at DC, so I was happy to see him go.
I mean, I got some Amazing Spider-Man books that he did that are just, I think they're amazing. Some Daredevil books that I really, really enjoy, but I'm just not enjoying newer John Romita Jr. stuff.
Yeah.
So my next thing's not until page 46. So
I got a couple of things in the middle of that. 23 is Hulk number 8 is the end of the Banner of War. I haven't been reading it at all. I don't know if it's good, but it's ending.
well, with all the people like the big fights between the big guys, that's a book for them. So
there's a new one coming out. That's the book for them, for the big guys fighting. And then Mike, what's your next one?
I'm kind of going by the seat of my pants on Marvel. Okay. Remember, I just got the catalog.
That's right. Sorry.
I am noticing on that Hulk number 8, it's the cover image almost looks like Gary Frank, is it? Yeah. But it's it looks like an amalgam of Hulk and Thor. He's got the red cape and all that.
Mm-hmm. And the blonde hair.
And the blonde hair, yeah.
Yep. And the lightning coming out of the fist smash. So
on
the Rainbow Bridge.
He's on Rainbow Road. Or I guess he's smashing Rainbow Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on 26 and 27 is the Defenders Beyond. I didn't know there was a first, or didn't pay attention to the fact that there was a first, I guess, series of this with Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez, but this caught my eye a lot because it's very stylized in kind of the 80s feel. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I'm into this, and so I quickly downloaded the first miniseries that they did, and I'm gonna have to check that out and see if this is worth picking up, because I like that artwork.
It's written by Al Ewing.
Mm-hmm. And then on 28th, I've never heard of this, but it's 30 years old. This Wild Cards thing that George R.R. Martin's been curating for 30 years, it sounds like.
Yeah, there was Epic Comics had some square-bound Wild Card stories. It's been Yeah, I would have thought it'd been more than 30 years, but they're based on a George R.R. Martin book, and of course, at this point, I don't know if the story's not already finished. I don't know if you can trust him to finish it or not.
Well, I guess that he's been curating it all. Like he's regularly writes any of it. He's editor of all of it, and gets all these writers together to do all these novels and short stories. So I don't know what that says for if it's George R. R. Martin quality, though I don't even know what that means because I've never read any of the stuff. But I guess he's had a world of superheroes that he's kind of been managing, I guess.
Yep. So yeah, this has seen comics. This has been in comics before. So.
On page 31, we've got the variants. Are you guys up to that yet?
Sure.
Yeah, I thought that looked cool.
Hey, I love Phil Noto. I mean,
Yeah, but it's all about Jessica Jones, and she's just not a very likable character.
yeah. I mean, I don't know much of her. I've seen the series, but it's just another. This is pushing ahead with the multiverse idea in Marvel. It's almost like Marvel just realized all of the writing possibilities if they would just embrace the multiverse concept. And now we've got Jessica
Or
meeting variants
all
of herself.
the silliness that can ensue whenever you open up the multiverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
On page 32, we've got Clobbering Time. This is your big guys fighting book right here. Steve, is it Scorse? Is
No idea.
pulling double. He's pulling double duty. I like his artwork's cool, and
Yeah.
it's the Thing and Hulk in what is supposed to be a big fist pounding action book. But I've seen this story before. I've seen the trick of Godzilla versus King Kong, and they have like two cool fights, and then the rest of it's a bunch of talking. So we'll see if it's actually going to come out of that. But that was a risk, not I guess not really a risk, but it was different to see just the two of them in a book called Clobbering Time.
Yeah, and it really implies they're not fighting each other. They're going to be pounding on, deviants and a celestial. So.
Yeah.
I want to talk about 2036. I've kind of forgotten about it. We have Iron Cat #1. And right at the start of the pandemic, there was one of my picks was for an issue of Black Cat where Tony Stark was going to give Black Cat armor. I said, this is like my investment pick. And I waited for that book and waited for that book, and I never, ever saw it hit the shelves, be resolicited. And now here they have this Iron Cat #1. And it even says someplace in the solicit, the Iron Cat armor made its first appearance in Black Cat #11. And it's like, I never saw it. So, yeah. So not only did I miss it, but now there's a series about it. So.
Huh.
I'm still waiting on 46. So.
39, we've got the Marvels Pride book to compete against the DC book. The Marvel Voices line is doing their now annual Pride book, I guess. And only thing I really have to say about this is there's a new character in the solicit that they talk about. So if you're collecting new characters, there may be something in there.
They say that the Marvel Universe's real god of love is Hercules now.
Not till 82.
All right, so 46, we have Punisher War Journal Blitz #1. So we went forever without a Punisher book because of all the things going on with Punisher and Emblem in the news. And then we get new Punisher books in back-to-back months. So they're making up for lost time apparently. But this is just a one-shot. And they are still using the hand version of the Punisher logo for these stories. But it basically is just an anthology. It looks like it's going to tell 3 different stories of the Punisher and, his new relationship with the Hand. So, and now that I say that, I don't remember seeing a regular Punisher book solicited
no, I didn't
in this
either.
issue. So maybe this is just they're taking off a month. In which case, why didn't you just put it just put it in the regular Punisher book? So, then my next thing's on 65.
Yeah, I'm good till then.
Okay, well, if you got 65, go ahead.
No, I don't have it. I'm good all the way through that. So go ahead.
All right, so Avengers Forever #7, Escape from the Prison of Steves. All right, so we got multiverse. Jason Aaron writing makes me a little nervous. So, but basically, Steve Rogers wakes up in a prison, and he's surrounded in a prison. Everybody else in other cells. They're also all named Steve. So he's apparently going to meet other versions of himself, and this is, of course, from Avengers Forever, where we have like the Tony Stark Ant-Man and where we get our first Captain Carter on the cover, and you can see we've got, like, on this page, we've got, hippie protester Steve Rogers, we got comic artist Steve Rogers, we got heavyset Steve Rogers, we got, I'm trying to decide exactly what this one here at the bottom, and almost looks like it's a, it's like a 2001 obelisk. I don't know. So we have all these variations of Steve Rogers, and apparently they're all in jail for being Steve Rogers. Then 77 is my next thing.
I'm still good.
Okay, so 77, we've got Iron Man number 21 getting a new villain in this issue. Switchback. This is also written by Christopher Cantwell. I made it up to issue 13 or 14 of this Iron Man run, and it's still good. So I've been reading it and enjoying it. So Cantwell's doing well with the Iron Man book for the time being. So, and a new villain. So, and I think that finishes out Marvel for me.
I've got on 82 is what on surface level appears to be just a adaptation of the Mandalorian series, the Star Wars Mandalorian #1. But I know it seems to be pretty consistent that when Star Wars does an adaptation, that they throw in a bunch of cut scenes, deleted scenes, things that didn't actually make the series. So I'm pretty pumped for this to see what the kind of extended version potentially of the episodes of The Mandalorian would have been. So
Has
I'm looking forward
Mandalorian
to
been
that.
referenced in any other Marvel books so far?
You know what? I'm not sure.
Or is
He
this going
wouldn't
to
have
be
been
his
in the
first
Bounty
comic?
Hunters book.
It's going to be his first comic book appearance.
I think you might be right.
This is going to be one time it may be tough to pass on that action figure variant.
That's it for me.
All right. Mike, as you flip through, any last things jumping out?
No, I don't see anything. Nothing worth. I mean, some continuations of series that I think, man, I should have picked that up, but it's a little late, dollar short type situation.
Well, and here's I was flipping through and I saw the solicitation for the new Iron Fist series first trade paperback. It's one of those things where you say, hey, is this going to be a new character, a new Iron Fist? Is somebody we've never seen before? And then you learn, no, it's what Swordmaster, who they introduced a couple of years ago. So it's not even a new character, just changing their identity for a limited series. So yeah, this shows how you can try to guess right and you can be oh so wrong. Yep, as I was on that book. All right, big book.
I don't have anything for a while on that. Well, till page 58. So I'm gonna step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, all right. Well, on page 28, we do have the solicitation for the next previews catalog. So of course, your previews orders are due in normally by the 18th of each month. You do have a few more days than that to get in an order for a new book. So please, contact Mike No at Muddy Monster Comics, and if something that we talk about interests you, let him know, and he can start a pull list for you and get that up and going. And then I'm just going straight into Image. And man, does Image have a lot of new #1s this month.
Yeah, they do, and only half of them seem exciting.
I'm surprised. I had a hard time. I try not to talk about a book just because it's a #1,
Right.
but there's a lot of these that I think are at least interesting. Starting with here on page 40, Clementine Book 1, original graphic novel. Now, Clementine is getting a free comic book day book.
Yes.
Which should beat this to the shelves in theory.
Yes.
So, of course, did we have we had Clementine in a comic previously? Okay, I can't remember if she was in one of those. From Skybound, those. Where we got like Rick Grimes 2000 and stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't think they did anything specifically Walking Dead besides that Rick Grimes thing.
Okay. So this may or may not be Clementine's, first adventure. Of course, it's going to be in a trade paperback size as opposed to a comic size, which that messes with people on first appearances. But again, it probably will be in the free comic book day book. So if you're
Yeah, I would say
out for
that's
free
that's
comic book
definitely
day,
the.
you might want to pick one. You might want to pick one of those up. And of course, it's based on the Telltale Walking Dead story, which was actually, she was a good character from that, and they did a
Mhm.
sequel to it. So there's a lot of Walking
That's
Dead fans who are fans of Clementine.
that's not an anomaly, right? The free comic book day book has had first appearances before,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yeah,
not a
like
thing.
the Umbrella Academy one was a good one,
Oh
probably the
yeah.
best example of that. There have been some others, like the first appearance of Firepower was supposed to have been in a free comic book day book, I think, but then it ended up because of ordering, the graphic novel got out a little bit earlier.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, so there have been some other times that's the case, but occasionally you do get a first appearance. Page 44, you have the closet number one, James Tynion. I kind of have James Tynion, the fourth Burnout. It seems like he's got a new book, all the time. I guess he's just like
Hmm.
keeps throwing some type of horror thing against the wall and hope that something else will eventually stick. But you kind of have the idea of a family moving across country, and the little child, the monsters in the closet seem to just kind of follow the child wherever they go. So we do get about 6 pages of art. Not bad, not great, but yeah, 3 issue series for fans of James Tynion the fourth.
Hmm.
Um, and then I thought 48, public domain, number
Yeah.
one. So also written and drawn by Chip Zdarsky. And the idea here is it's a comic book story about a father who created a hero apparently called Imminent Domain. And now the two sons are basically, trying to convince the father to protect the legacy of his character. So they're basically telling
Meta book.
Mhm. Yeah, the creator writes story inside of a comic book. So by Chip
Mhm.
Zdarsky.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with Chip Zdarsky, but I think I'm gonna pick this one up to kind of be my intro to the indie world with him because it seems like a pretty good, interesting title.
Like I said, the main thing of his that I've read is Daredevil,
Hmm.
because he also did like the Spider-Man life stories, and Mike I think really liked Spider-Man life stories. I wasn't as big on it. Um, so who knows, but he's had some really, really good stuff. So.
Yeah, he's got that. Is it Stillwater? Is that book,
Hmm.
that indie book,
Was that him? Yeah, that's him. I,
maybe?
I I couldn't remember for sure if it was him or Matt Fraction, but I think it is Chip Zdarsky. And I only read the first issue of that, so.
Hmm.
And then on 52, Skybound presents After School number one. All I see whenever I read this description was like those 1950s warning to parents about the dangers of
Absolutely.
marijuana.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Well,
like,
and
okay,
it does seem like it's a morality tale. They are trying to do like some sort of anthology that is, it says, a story of a cautionary tale.
mhm.
So I think that they're definitely on the nose with that, playing on that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of find this a little bit interesting as well. What is a 4 issue series? I'm not familiar with any of the creators on this. I need to start paying better attention to that. But and then my next thing's on 58, which I think is also Mike's next thing.
I got 56.
Okay.
I am not a wrestling person typically, uh, but this Do a Power Bomb, number one, a 7 issue series by the somebody else pulling double duty, Daniel Warren Johnson, who I guess did the Dead Earth Wonder
Hmm.
Woman series, which the art looked awesome for that. I didn't read it, but the kind of summary of it being that there's a wannabe wrestler living in the shadow of her pro wrestler mom, and then getting asked to join a necromancer's wrestling tournament. It was just like, okay, maybe I should check this out. It seems like a pretty good just wild concept that, especially with that wrestling element, will add a lot of crazy to it. So
Excuse me, I think you mean wrestling.
some wrestling, yeah.
Some wrestling, yeah. Well, I guess that's the only number one we didn't mention was Beware the Eye of Odin, number one. We might as well flip back to 54 and say written by Doug Wagner, art and cover by Tim Odland and Michelle Madsen. And apparently it's got something to do with Vikings and Norse mythology. So
I
there you
like
go.
Doug Wagner, but I'm not. It didn't grab me too much, but
Yeah,
I might have to check it out.
I was the same way. So yeah. Mike, I think you said you had 58. You want to talk about 58?
Sorry, I was on mute. Seven Sons, number 1 of 7. I automatically, my eyes were drawn to this because Jay Lee is a favorite artist of mine, and I haven't seen him around. I didn't know that he hadn't been on a new title since 1994.
He's been doing almost exclusively covers.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'd like to see him in this, regardless of the premise or whatever the premise is. But even the premise does look good. It's a science fiction type thriller, and it's about a young man who may be the second coming of Christ, runs for his life as he attempts to learn the truth behind his existence. So sounds pretty intriguing, but like I said, it's the art that really got my attention.
Oh yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if that stays on schedule, just because since he hasn't done a monthly book in so long, how much of it's already completed.
It may be in the can. Exactly.
Yeah, so maybe it's already done, so it will be, on time as it should. But hopefully they're at least got enough of a head start for him.
Right.
My next thing's on 65.
I got 62. Okay. It's crossover number 1 3D special, which it's just fun. The whole 3D thing's goofy. I dig that. But they also it's a reprint of number 1, but they're adding, it looks like about 18 pages more of original story on there, because it's solicited as 48 pages, and I counted 30 pages on the original number 1. I have actually been reading my crossover books. That's one of the ones I actually have been trying to catch up on, and have been digging it. So this little novelty book is definitely up my alley.
It does say it has an all new story in it. So.
I lauded this early on. Then I thought it was just a 6-issue series. Didn't order any comics after issue 6. And now I need to. I can get the trade. I can get it online or on Comixology or something. So that's probably what I'll do.
Page 65, we have a 30th anniversary blank sketch cover for Spawn number 1, and it's only $2.99. So I will probably grab a bunch of these, because Spawn is still a super popular character, and this will give people an opportunity to get their favorite artist to draw Spawn for them on the front of a comic. So I'll definitely, and to have a copy of Spawn number 1 if they don't already.
There you go.
So yeah,
that's
cool.
That 64, the page right before that. This the Phalanx one shot. What was it?
Phalanx,
yeah.
Okay. And originally the solicit reads like it. I'm not wrong in saying that this is an original idea. This is a new character, right? Like it's not. It's just an homage to probably Young Bloods, or just about. I don't know if it's just a Young Bloods homage, or if they're kind of playing on everything that was like the first Image books. But it's a celebration of the 30th anniversary of Image, with a new book from
the arms in front of the girl in the lower left-hand corner are just terrible. That is just awful. She's holding that spear, and it just looks, the proportions are totally wrong. It just.
What page is that on?
On page 64.
64.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. So, yeah. Unless it's.
I like Jonathan Luna's artwork typically, because it doesn't feel overly polished, as you pointed out. But I really like that.
Most of the rest of it is either good or properly proportioned, but man, that one is just really, really off.
I think it's that costume is just it's like got. I keep looking like the arms are like also like both arms are down, but then the one's arm is up, but it's really just like a V costume. It's a weird costume design.
But yeah, just like the arms are just not the right length, and the fists are not sized properly, and I don't know. Yeah. I'm done with Image, I think, finally.
I am as well.
Okay. I got page 96 in Dark Horse, unless somebody has something before that.
I'm way up to 228.
Oh. I don't know. So Lonesome Hunters #1 4-issue series. This sounds like a reverse Once and Future to me. So the idea is you have this young girl who's wants to be a monster hunter and brings her out of practice grandpa in to start hunting monsters. And like in Once and Future, you have the grandmother who is the monster hunter, or the equivalent of the monster hunter, and it's a reluctant grandson that she's having to train. But anyway, just I enjoyed that concept quite a lot in Once and Future. So this could also be something good. It's a little supernatural, and just a 4-issue time investment. So not too bad of a deal.
I like looking at Tyler Crook's artwork, so I'm sure if nothing else, it'll be nice to look at.
That's all I had in Dark Horse.
I've got 119 in Dark Horse. There's an original trade called Always Never, which is a love story that is told backwards. Starts
Memento.
with chapter 20 and rewinds to chapter 1. And I thought that was kind of cool. It looks very European in the artwork, and the names are, the artist is Jordi Lafembre,
Sure.
and then the cover is done by Clemence Sapin. I'm murdering those names, but they're obviously probably European influenced names as well. But I dig the artwork. Looks very kind of old school Disney, like I said, very European, and I just thought the concept of doing something, a love story in reverse, been done before. It's not completely original, but would be cool to read.
I hope there's an English version for you.
Oh yeah, it is in French.
It's all in French on at least on this solicitation page.
You are right. Well,
so
never
mind.
Make it
tough.
I'm not fluent in French, so that's I'm not even
surely they're gonna have an English translation of this, and they just used art from the original just for time purposes. But
Shirley.
Yeah, and stop calling me Shirley.
I'll wait and see what the preview pages on Comixology have maybe before.
Now, my next thing is not until 195 in Boom.
Bada boom.
I got 149 in Dynamite just because they're trying, it looks like, and so I felt like I should give them a mention, as they have a Curiosity Books is I guess an imprint for younger kids that is right smack dab in the middle of a bunch of TNA books. And it's a book called The Legion of Forgettable Supervillains, and it's a trade paperback, ages 8 to 12. The artwork looks pretty generic for the most part, but I like the coloring on the cover, so that was.
Did you say 135?
49.
49.
Yeah.
Well, I remember seeing this, and it reminded me of. I actually have a reference book called Forgettable Superheroes and Forgettable Supervillains. There's two different ones. That's not the actual title, but it's close to that. But it was a lot of fun. It's basically all those public domain, or now public domain characters. So I wonder if this is somehow tied to that, or if it's just something completely new. I think it's new.
Yeah.
Saga
they're
City.
Trying to branch out.
Yeah.
E for effort.
Scotty.
195, is that what you said?
Yeah, 195 is where I'm at next. You guys got anything before there?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Well, then on 195 we only find them when they're dead, number 11. So this is actually the start of the third volume, and of course we did the review of the first volume a couple of episodes ago. But they're going to time jump here at issue 11 to start the third volume and jump ahead 50 years for the third and final arc of this epic sci-fi series
Huh.
with an almost entirely new cast, which means
Almost have to be.
basically, yeah, everybody except for maybe one person from the crew from the second volume is now dead. But
Yeah.
I haven't gotten around to reading the second volume of this. I absolutely am, though. I'm going to do it at some point here.
I want to see this movie. That's really what I've just landed on. I want to see
I,
the movie.
I do too, because I've got like 4 copies of this 9.8 graded to number 1. So yes, I want to
Me
see the
too.
movie, and it be a blockbuster is what I want to see.
The only downfall to 50 years is that I was already having a hard enough time keeping the storyline together, and now they're gonna throw me another time jump.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It took several read throughs to kind of get it down, but and I guess I'm just gonna have to be that, and I've always thought sometimes I need to read like all my comics at least twice, you know, and maybe I just need to start that as a practice.
And I get that totally. I need to read comics in the morning. If I read them at night, I can't remember what I read because I'm falling asleep.
Well, I started if I'm reading the book monthly, I'll read it when it comes out, and then I'll read it again before I read the next issue when it comes out.
Yeah.
And so I'm always reading them twice if I'm reading them as they come out. If I'm not reading them on a monthly basis, then I'm just chugging through them. I don't necessarily pick them up twice, but I should.
My next thing's 216.
I got 216 also.
Ooh, I'll let you go.
What?
This is an Aftershock book called Astronaut Down, and it's written by James Patrick. Artist is Raboon or something like that. And the concept's pretty cool. It's it's a reality kind of based in a reality that is more realistic than superheroes, but we have these astronauts, and instead of traveling through space, they have to travel through different realities. And our Earth, or the Earth in this book, is on the brink of extinction, and so the astronauts are being sent out to discover new realities to help save our Earth. It just feels very superhero-y concept, but kind of put into real-world positions and situations. And yeah, I dug that idea.
I'm telling you, Aftershock comes out with some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And with the popularity of like multiverse type stuff, between Doctor Strange and DC, and that everywhere, always at the same time, whatever that movie is with Michelle.
Oh yeah,
with Michelle Yao that's out right now that I haven't seen yet, but I really want to.
Mm-hmm.
The whole multiverse concept is something I think people are going to grab onto for film at some point, and I definitely think this is a cool looking book. Got the sci-fi element for me, and it's all good. 218.
Good.
Okay, so Where Starships Go to Die, number 1. This is also from Aftershock. So they have something called Point Nemo. So this is basically in the oceans that is the farthest place from any landmass, and this is where they go and dump derelict spaceships. So that is where the starships go to die. So again, it's kind of one of these. The planet is on the verge of some type of, apocalypse, or they say climate change, and they are going back to recover humanity's first interstellar starship, and what they find is beyond their worst nightmares. So, sci-fi book, new book. Variant cover by Jeremy Hahn. I hadn't even noticed that. And science fiction element piques my interest.
Yeah.
Mike, I assume you got 228, unless you got something before then.
No, 228. We're in the Ahoy Comics section. Small that it is, but Ahoy Comics is kind of known for their Wrong Earth series, and this is the latest edition of the one-shots called Confidence Men. It's written by Mark Waid, art by Leonard Kirk, who He had a good run on, I believe, Justice Society or JSA back in the early 2000s. Of course, covered by Jamal Igle, and it says it continues. This is a continuation of all the one shots by different superstars. So I'm continuing to get these.
Have you read any of them yet?
No,
Okay.
kidding me.
I apologize for even asking.
I have to quit doing it. I need to quit working.
Yeah.
I just
You
don't
need to quit doing a
understand.
podcast about comics so you can take some time to read some comics.
Yeah. How ironic is that?
Yeah. My next thing's on 250.
Oh, wait, I just noticed on this page here right next to 228, 229, it's the Hakes Auctions. It mentions that a guy named Scott Reed purchased that Captain America #1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's amazing. Who is this guy?
Yeah. I'm so happy that they take cash for stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I just didn't want to write a check that big.
Good for you, buddy. I hope you got that locked down somewhere. All right.
I can't even afford a single page out of Captain America Comics #1, let alone the entire book. So,
Yeah.
anything for 250?
Nope.
No, that's where I'm. Oh boy, we're thinking alike.
Oh,
Chad, that's
yeah.
scary when Scott and I start thinking alike.
Well, to be honest, I flagged it also.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
there we have a
So,
trifecta
all right.
of intelligence.
I almost flipped past this book, but something when I saw the first line that says "this Black Mirror style," that's all I needed to see.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's an anthology book about technology going wrong. I'm in.
Yep.
You know?
Same reasons for me.
Anything you wanted? Anything else to add?
Mike Deodato's no slouch. I mean, on art.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
science fiction-y. I've heard of Greg Hurwitz, but I can't put my finger on what he's done. But yeah, I'm definitely marking this down. It's is it a limited series or what is it?
It doesn't say limited or one shot, so at this point it's an ongoing. And maybe they'll just come out with new books as they get them. So
Okay.
yeah. Man,
Hurwitz is actually a novelist. He's got a bunch of novels under his belt. It
Okay.
looks like.
That's good.
Okay. Mike, have you watched all of Black Mirror?
No, I haven't. I have
Oh.
not.
I haven't
Again, it
started
takes
it.
time that I don't have.
Well, my advice for you, to be honest, is
Mhm.
just go straight to episode 2.
Okay.
Because episode 1 of Black Mirror, the first time I had to stop it. It is
Oh.
so disturbing.
Oh.
And yeah, and then I had to.
Makes me want to watch it more.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay, all right. Don't say I didn't warn you.
So says Shad. I'm not. Yeah, I have a hard enough time sleeping tonight as it is. I don't know.
But yeah, it is super disturbing. And then after that, it's all stuff that it's creepy, but it's understandable and bearable. But man,
Okay.
that
Okay.
first episode is a rough one to get
All
through.
right. All right. Duly noted.
Let's see. I'm on
I got
290.
251
Oh.
right across from it. I picked up ETER one shot #1 last year. We'd gone over it, and I still haven't read it, so don't judge me on that. But the fact that this is ETER one shot #2, I feel like might be a little bit of a misstep in naming things. Feels a little like that shouldn't work, an oxymoron of sorts, or I don't know.
Yeah, 290 is my
254.
next thing. Okay, go ahead.
254 is Redman #1, and it's not the rapper, which is what I thought at first.
It's
From the studio who created Ultraman, which I guess he's got a couple of miniseries at Marvel. It's looks like some sort of almost Power Rangers-esque show that I guess existed in the 90s, perhaps. But this Sub Uriah is the name of the company who created Ultraman, and they've now created this character called Redman. He's a kaiju hunter. It feels a little forced that they're like, from the people who created Ultraman, which is now a Marvel property. But it is odd enough that maybe it needs to be paid attention to, because Ultraman's got a Netflix series that's coming out. So I don't know.
Okay.
That's my I don't know of the month. I got 299.
Okay, I got 290. Mike?
303.
Okay, so 290. We get the first official solicits for the new Overstreet price guides. So we have the 3 covers for the regular size books. We got a Winter Soldier cover, a Black Terror cover, and an EC Horror cover where you get 3, I don't know, I'll just say witches. I think they actually have an official name for the 3, like the 3 fates or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they got all kinds of names.
And I think we saw this last month, but we also have the 4th one, which is the big Overstreet comic book price guide. And this has a Black Hood on the cover, also drawn by Rick Burchett. So if you're due for a new price guide, then the new one will be out on July 20th.
It's tempting.
And I didn't put a page number for my next thing, so I don't know what my next page number is. Sometime before 362, though, I do know that.
That's a big gap.
Yeah. It's only 72 pages, which for the back of the book is not necessarily a lot. So.
You got on 299 is just a mention of a cryptid. It's the Cryptid Club Volume 1, Bigfoot Takes the Field. It's a kid's graphic novel about these kids who are trying to find out if Bigfoot's real, and I guess he becomes a football player or something. But that was my Muddy Monster contribution.
I missed that, and I didn't see anything, even Universal Monsters in this.
No, I didn't either.
So I'm glad you caught that. So I do have something on 312.
Okay.
303 is the final secret of Adolf Hitler. So it's basically for fans of, for historians and fans of World War II historical fiction, and it's December of 1944. As the fate of World War II seems to be sealed, a submarine leaves Germany, taking with it Hitler's secrecy-shrouded last hope for winning the war. And once in a while, I like to read war comics, or especially if it's somewhat, based on history. So this is under Humanoids. It's 120 pages. It's a soft cover, full color, and I just think this would be an interesting read. And I'm good until 310.
Okay, well, then you're before me.
And I'm not sure why I marked 310.
Marked 310 just to say that IDW is not in their premiere spot anymore.
That's it.
And I had that same note, and I was still trying to find my next page number that I forgot that. So, hey, once again, that is kind of weird, because, that means they just stopped paying for, the privilege of being in the front of the cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, does not bode well for, IDW for their future. So 312 in IDW, and I was so distracted by IDW not having their own section. Rocketeer the Great Race number 3 of 4, so that's getting close to the end. And then 336 is where I'm at next.
326 for me.
Go.
Yeah, 322.
Go.
In the Mad Cave Studios section, they're doing a collected edition of this book called Last Session. It's the volume 1 of it, called Roll for Initiative. And this is it's a role-playing game kind of thing. It reminds me of that Die book kind of a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I really just dug the cover. I saw the issue 1 on the stands, done by Dozer Draws is the name of the artists who did the cover and the interiors. And so I was like, if you're a fan of Die, this might be a interesting take. It seemed like the reverse kind of side of things. It was more about the role playing game universe kind of coming more to life, and not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little less gruesome than Dire.
I may have
But
to put that one down because that is kind of interesting.
yeah.
And I'm going to type into my notes, and now I just lost my page for where I was next. It's all your fault, Chad. Oh, so that was actually a series, and this is just a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay. I think it was on 350. No, 330.
Mike had something on 320 something, I think.
Yeah, I had just in the it's in the magazine section basically. So just in the spirit of Muddy Monster Comics, and even though these aren't Universal Studios monsters, you get a couple of magazines. One of them I'm familiar with, Rue Morgue magazine. It's been around a while, but it's really had a recent push in advertising in comic books, and features a cover of I don't know if that's the clown,
yeah.
or who,
Pennywise, yeah.
Pennywise, yeah. And then you got Scary Monsters 127. So anybody that might be listening to this podcast just because of its association with Muddy Monster Comics, page 326 has a couple of books you might be interested in. Now I'm good to 373.
Okay, I'm on 336.
I got 334.
Okay.
Bill and Ted's got a new book. Bill and Ted Roll the Dice #1, so another role-playing game element kind of book. So if you are a collector of the Bill and Ted comics, this one might be a little bit out of the normal spot that they're in, because I don't feel like Opus is who has had their license in the past. I feel like they had a book not too long ago that was maybe an IDW or
And
somewhere
originally
along
they
those
were like
routes.
in Marvel, I think. So
Yeah, they were a Marvel book. That's right. So if you're not paying attention, but you are a Bill and Ted collector, keep an eye out for that one. I do have some Bill and Ted comics in my collection. So,
So page 336, Penguin Classics. I saw Penguin Classics Marvel Collection Volume 1, The Amazing Spider-Man. I thought, okay, so they're going to put together basically some key stories from Spider-Man's history. And then I went to the next column, and it was Penguin Classics Marvel Collection Volume 2, Captain America. I thought, how did I miss Volume 1 of Captain America? But then actually what it is that it's the Penguin Classics Marvel Collection, are the volumes. So the first one has Spider-Man. The second one has Captain America. I realized this one. The third one was Black Panther. But I remember growing up and getting these trade paperbacks that were collections of like characters and like a couple of their most important stories. So this is something that I may check into about picking up, because it's going to be like some of the key Spider-Man stories, some of the key Captain America stories. I'm thinking about maybe even pick up the hardcover, give them a place of honor on my shelf. So if you like to read more just curated stories as opposed to just reading everything ever, this would probably be something worth picking up. And they have a soft cover and a hardcover version for the price point that is closer to what you want to pay. 362 for me.
I'm not till 380.
Okay, so 362 from Titan. We have a new Blade Runner series. I'm trying to figure out how I went so long without knowing that there was a Blade Runner animated series called Black Lotus. I did finally watch that on HBO Max. It's pretty good. But now they have a comic series based on the animated series, Blade Runner, Black Lotus #1, 4-issue series, several variant covers, but it continues the story of Elle, and it takes place after the conclusion of the Black Lotus animated series. I'm surprised neither of you were wanting to talk about 364.
Yeah, I almost did. I'm not familiar with the original movie.
Okay, I'm not either,
But they've got a new show that's coming out on Showtime, adapting this. So we've got the book was adapted into the movie, which is adapted into the comic, which is going to be adapted into a TV show on Showtime starting at the end of next month or something like that.
And it's going to be on Showtime. And isn't this the guy who plays Baron Mordo?
Oh, is it?
I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but I'm thinking he plays Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
I could. I guess I had the internet before me. I guess I could look that up and stop speculating. Yes, that is. So, guy who plays Baron Mordo is going to be in the Showtime series. That
Okay.
makes me want to watch it.
I guess we should say it's the man who fell to Earth because I don't think we said that part.
Oh yeah, you are correct. Well, that's why I wasn't planning on talking about it. I thought one of you guys would talk about it, so I just hadn't even bothered to mark it down. So, which of course was the David Bowie sci-fi story, which I also have not watched. So, probably should, but I haven't done it. So,
Oh yeah.
I'm actually done with side one.
373.
Before? Okay.
373 is the last thing I have as well. It's it's an offered again item, the Flash Companion softcover. I only marked it down because I wanted to get it last time, but I forgot to ask. So it's just it's just one of those tomorrow's companion books that gives you everything you really wanted to know about a particular character. Written by Keith Dallas, and it's got a lot of art by everybody from Carmine Infantino to Don Kramer. So, yeah, I think this would be something good to put on my shelf.
And it's from Tomorrow's.
It is.
I've got on 280. A new #1 from Vault Comics is Mindset #1, and this is another technology gone wrong kind of scenario where you've got a tech geek, their word, not mine, that accidentally discovers mind control, and he and his friends put it into an app that tries to get people to no longer use their smartphones and try to get away from the screen and end up creating a cult, a conspiracy cult in the meantime. So there's the kind of a neat story, and every once in a while Vault has a pretty cool little concept, and we'll see how they execute it.
That is.
You're attacking smartphones this month, though.
That's right. So hey, there's something that maybe deserved to be attacked just a little bit.
That's
so
right.
I'm gonna put that on my consideration list because that's right up my alley. Mindset #1. It's on 380. I think you might have said 280.
Yeah, he did.
So, okay,
yeah,
all
380.
right.
Yeah,
I flipped back to 280 and it's like, I don't see
Oh.
on page 280. Anything else on side one?
Oh,
No.
I've only got one thing on side two, so I don't know about everybody else.
I got 2.
Okay. Well, mine's on 14.
I'm on 13.
13, all right. Okay.
I'm a big fan of the Disney Gargoyles cartoon series, so they've got a Goliath mini bust that looks pretty good, and then they've got a couple others that are coming soon. So if you are into gargoyles and collect busts or want to get into busts, these look pretty good.
On page 14, we have the JCVD Gallery PVC diorama. So for those of you not in the know, JCVD is Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he is, of course, the actor, if you want to call him that, from Bloodsport and Cyborg and I can't even remember, some of the other stuff. Was it Double Trouble or Double Impact and all kinds of movies. Bloodsport is still a fun movie to watch, as ridiculous as it is. But I never ever thought we'd see the day where we have Jean-Claude Van Damme statues.
I got 34.
Okay.
I'm
done. I'm done. So.
Oh, okay. This is the other Universal Monsters mention that's in the book. It's the Universal Monsters versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's Leonardo as the Hunchback of Notre Dame in a 7-inch figure. He's pretty gnarly looking. I think they did a pretty cool job of doing this. I'm interested to see. I'm assuming that this isn't the last that we'll see of this, given that there's at least 3 more turtles they can do something with, and lots of monsters. So I thought this was a pretty cool opener to what seems to be a series that they're going to be doing there.
Excellent catch.
And that's all I got.
Mike, you got anything in part 2?
I do not.
Okay. All right. So, books that everybody's looking forward to. I think I'll start this time. So, some things that I'm looking forward to. Definitely the restart of a Captain America comic. We had Captain America Iron Man, so I'm ready to read some more Steve Rogers. It's been a little while, and I am also kind of excited about the New Think #1, that Black Mirror style anthology book.
Mm-hmm.
And now that now Shad mentioned it, because it's basically a similar concept, that mindset from on page 380. I mean, if I'm looking forward to New Think, there's no reason why I shouldn't be looking forward to Mindset as well. So, Shad, what about you?
I've got. I'm definitely looking forward to the Clementine book coming out from Image. Just want to see what they do with the character. I actually don't know anything about the character because I didn't play the Telltale game series. So I'm hoping they give me a little bit of a little bit of runway on there to know a little bit of that. But more Walking Dead kind of world without the main character. I love the world. The characters have kind of been overdone, so it's nice to kind of branch out and see how they all play.
If you like video games at all, the Telltale Walking Dead is really more like you're just interacting with the movie. It's not super difficult, and it's basically just randomly pushing the keys. Occasionally, you got a thing where you got to push the keys really, really fast or something like that. But it's a pretty low stress game playing environment. So if you just are, they're decent enough for a game. And I don't think they don't take 40 hours to get through. They're a little shorter playthrough times. So.
And then the crossover 3D special only. I mean, the 3D glasses is cool, but the additional pages of story in there and seeing how that kind of plays into the crossover world, I am looking forward to that little bit of extra there.
Mike, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
Because I'm a sucker for crises, Dark Crisis #1, and hopefully after the first issue I won't be disappointed. I am also, oh shoot, where was that at? It's the one that you mentioned also. I didn't think of it earlier, but I had it marked. The Think Tank, is that what it was?
New Think #1?
New Think, yes.
New Think, yeah.
Yes, that one I have double marked. So those two.
All right, Chad, what do you got you want to give us something you think might be worth something down the road?
Yeah, I'm tempted to say the Clementine book just because of what it is, but it's not the first appearance, so I don't know how that plays into that. So I'm gonna skip over it only for that reasoning. And I don't know, there's something about that public domain book that Chip Zdarsky's doing that it seems like it's could be an easy pick for something bigger to happen with it to blow up a little bit more. So yeah, I'm gonna say public domain #1.
Yeah, Image gives us lots of potential choices this month. So with all the #1s.
Yes.
Mike, what about you? You got something you think stands out?
Even though you gave me a good argument as to maybe why it wouldn't be a good pick, I'm going to stick with my gut and say Batman 124, which may or may not introduce a new hero.
Yeah, and if it's not Abyss, then yeah, it could be a totally new character, and and Josh Williamson hasn't been as frequent as introducing characters as his predecessor had been. You couldn't go 2 issues without getting a new quote unquote new character.
Yeah.
In that. I got a couple here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out that Multiversity Teen Justice #1 just because it's a possibility. We get some new characters there.
I would have put it down, but I knew you were going to say that after we talked about it. Yeah.
I guess you got to look at that issue of Star Wars, The Mandalorian #1. If that's his first comic appearance. Now, everybody's aware of this character, so it's not like they're mining something from the past. But it's something that I think I suspect people will want to pick up.
Also, first appearance of Grogu, assumably, and that's more likely that they're gonna do something he could be a major player in comics later on, or
Mhm.
obviously in the movies and shows. So not only do you get a first appearance of Mandalorian, you're probably getting first appearance of Grogu.
Grogu, yeah. And I like Astronaut Down as a pick from Aftershock
Yeah.
because again, I mentioned the popularity of this multiverse concept, and that's not something that they've necessarily mined for movies yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that's a good pick as well. So all right, so Shad, what do we have coming up on our next
Well,
episode?
on the next episode of Campus Comics Cast, we're going to be covering Rorschach number 1 through 6, the first half of the Maxi series, as well as it's Spider-Man's 60th birthday this year. So we're going to cover Spider-Man's top stories, our opinions, of course,
Yeah.
and then
Or
a
at least our
CLC
favorites, our personal favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, personal favorites. Yeah, our tops. Well, what we think's cool.
All right, good
Yeah.
deal. So let's see. So Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, that would be m.atchison90@gmail.com, the old-fashioned email.
Shad, what about you?
You can find me on Facebook at Shad Schubert. That's SHAADSCHUBERT. And check out the Can't Get Rights. They got a bunch of shows coming up in the few months coming up.
Then I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, burgcomics.com. And I have several conventions showing up. As we record this Saturday, April 16th, is SalukiCon. I'm unfortunately not setting up at that show, but I am going to go for a while and support the convention. So if I assume I will get this posted before then. So if you're out and about on Saturday the 16th, stop by SalukiCon. I'll be in Dyersburg, Tennessee on April 30th. I'll be in Evansville, Indiana on May 14th. And then probably my next one after that will be Superman Celebration, first part of June 10th to the 12th, I think. And I've got a few other shows down the road after that I'll talk about in a future episode. So, all right. So thanks for listening to us. Hope that your neuroses has diminished as you have listened to this episode. And as always, and we will be back with another episode in the near future. Thanks.
And are we ready to go? Yeah. I'm not ready. No, not ready? Okay. Oh, you're not ready. Okay. It's just a shade below being ready. I just thought you had a stutter. So, well, maybe I do.